We all love a good fall from grace story. It's a human nature, to build someone up just to pull them down when they reach the peak. The story of Steven Seagal is not really one of those.
I know that you're a Zen master. What is the essence of Zen?
But it's one of cringe style, creepy behavior and pathological lies, and questions how he got so famous in the first place. It's hard to imagine it for younger audiences, but once upon a time, Seagal was super popular. I remember when I was a kid and my parents had a VHS rental store. Movies like Under Siege and Above the Law were in demand. People loved Steven, an American martial artist with a 7th degree black belt in Aikido. He was, and I guess still is, a truly Renaissance man. An actor, producer, musician, businessman, and he's multilingual. Seems like a great guy, right? A role model for young men. Why is he then so disliked and made fun of? Let's start with his nationality and ethnicity.
Hi, I'm Steven Seagal. I'm an American. To me, nothing means America more than America than Americans.
So over the years, he claimed many cultural connections as well as an ever-changing heritage, which raised some eyebrows.
Russian. My father was a Russian Mongol, so these people are Russian Mongols. I'm a little bit Asian and was raised over there. And I'm Russian. My family are from Vladivostok and Belarus and, Italian descent? Yeah, I have some Italian on my mother's side. And
he also said that Serbia was a home to him. Also claiming he was Irish and French, so, many faces, many passports. And another thing that people make fun of is his music, in particular a song called Strut, which was an attempt at reggae.
When the girls start to strut, you could look at their butt, you shouldn't do that.
When the girls start to strut, you could look at her butt, but you shouldn't do that. So truly a Bob Dylan-like soul of a poet. He was criticized for a borderline offensive accent, lyrics and cultural appropriation. Or, just being absolutely terrible. But as a true artist, he didn't listen to the critics and released a follow-up album, Mojo Priest, in 2006. The only non-black musician who really understood blues, according to him.
I was the only one that wasn't black that I knew that played exactly like them.
But people weren't ready, and his music adventures weren't too successful.
I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet.
And the last thing that people mock him for is the poop story. So, allegedly, when Steven Seagal was proclaiming that his Aikido training meant that he could never be choked out, martial artist Jean LeBel decided to take him up on the offer. And on the set of a 1991 Out for Justice, he put Seagal to sleep, with unfortunate consequences.
I get him in a headlock there, I get him in the rear naked, and he just fell asleep. I guess maybe he forgot to go to the bathroom, so he went to the bathroom then.
So he walks around telling everybody he's Judo Jean LeBel, tells everybody he beat me up, he choked me out.
But changing nationalities, cringeworthy music, and even a funny poop story, aren't enough to hate the guy. Unfortunately, there is a darker side to Seagal, much darker. His ever-changing claims of heritage are just a part of almost pathological lying. And some other lies were: Seagal said he studied under Morihei Ueshiba, an Aikido founder who died 5 years before Seagal even moved to Japan. He claimed he trained CIA agents and even joined them in a field. Quote, "I don't really like to talk about what I've done in a field." And I don't. 3. With the help of American mob, he fought off Yakuza gangsters. Quote, "I jumped right in their faces. I was a tenacious motherfucker, man, and I was fearless." But apparently his first wife said it wasn't Yakuza, but he did shoo away a few drunk people who were hanging around his dojo one time. Also, he's the best expert on swords and frequently helps to authenticate them for auction houses.
I probably had 10 to 12 swords that were, within the history of Japan, amazingly important and significant.
And he accused New York mobsters from the Gambino family of extortion and intimidation. But to be fair, this story seems to have a kernel of truth to it.
Now, Steven Seagal was getting shaken down by Peter Gotti, who was John Gotti's brother, who was the acting boss at the time.
Right.
What happens next?
Nothing. He testifies in court.
Now, was he really extorted and intimidated by the mob? I guess we'll never know.
Well, it started, he probably don't think it was extortion to him at all. Not that he was being threatened or afraid. He liked them. They were helping him. They did a few things for him. He was doing movies and it was funneling.
But when journalist Anita Bush wanted to write an expose on Seagal and his ties to organized crime, she was allegedly threatened in 2002. There was a bullet hole in her car's windshield, a dead fish and a rose. So a classic mafia warning and a note that said, "Stop." Now, there were also whispers that Seagal hired Anthony Pellicano, a notorious Hollywood fixer, to scare the journalist. I talked about Pellicano in our video on John McTiernan and the Rollerball remake, but this guy definitely deserves a separate video on him. But all the above was enough for Hollywood to blacklist Seagal. His lies, his delusions, connections to gangsters, and just a general assholery. And man, he can be a right prick. He trash talks other actors.
I think that that's a matter of opinion, that he was champion anywhere. Yeah.
Michael Jai White.
Can I laugh in your face?
Really? It's on Jean-Claude Vandamme.
Can I laugh in your face?
And has a bit of an ego.
Do you still fight?
Yes, I do.
You still dangerous?
I'm gonna try not to be insulted, man. I've been doing martial arts all my life. How could it be fake?
And he comes out and he said, "I just read the greatest script I've ever read in my life." He goes, "Really? Who wrote it?" "I did."
But I guess he can be a man of peace on the first day of an action movie shoot.
Steven Seagal has had a spiritual sort of crisis and sort of a spiritual awakening. He decided that he doesn't want to kill people anymore in movies.
I can't fight, man. What do you mean you can't fight?
One of the true things about Seagal is that he is an accomplished martial artist, even teaching in an Aikido dojo. But even that came under criticism and ridicule. With other martial artists calling him out on his bullshit.
Again, like with Steven, like, come on, he's a guy, like, he's never fought anybody.
Most of Seagal's movies, his action is done close up. You really can't see. Everything is real quick cuts, so you don't get a chance to really see exactly what he's doing.
Obviously, that doesn't bother Seagal one bit.
One time somebody pulled a knife on me and he said, "Okay, now what are you gonna do?" And I said, "I have 10 weapons, you have 1.
But in the 80s and the 90s, he was perceived as one of the action heroes, and there was even a proposal for a fight between Seagal and Van Damme to take place in Las Vegas. They were supposed to get $20 million each for the fight, but Steven Seagal backed out of it.
That's where I saw Jean-Claude Vandamme. Is that true he got in a fight with you?
No. It'd be like me squashing an ant.
His first wife said that Seagal only got his black belt because the judge fell asleep during his grading and just gave him the belt after he woke up. All of the above created some rivalries with actors like Michael J. White, Liam Neeson disliking the guy, to say mildly.
As an actor, and you've done many, many things, is it your dream to work with Steven Seagal? Is that on your bucket list?
I know he dyed his hair.
Steven Seagal. Quem me dá Steven Seagal?
Steven Seagal.
Okay, okay.
With Brian Cox writing in his book that Steven Seagal is as ludicrous in real life as he appears on screen. Okay, but have you subscribed yet? Well, you better do, cause otherwise Steven Seagal will beat you up.
I arranged for you to get some combat pointers from my old buddy, Steven Seagal.
Now brace yourselves, because the story will get progressively more disturbing. In 2020, the SEC charged Seagal with a violation, as he didn't disclose a payment of $300,000 for promoting B2G crypto tokens. So he posted about the coin without mentioning that he is getting paid for it, and then trying to make it as a genuine endorsement. He pleaded not guilty, but repaid the sum plus penalties. Apart from legal issues, he apparently is a nightmare on set. The production company behind the To Die You Die movie sued Seagal for $14 million.
Yeah, who are you? Girl Scouts of America?
He apparently bullied the cast and the crew, harassed everyone, and showed up late. He demanded changes to the script and dialogue, which resulted in millions of dollars going over budget. When he did SNL in 1991, everyone hated working with him, with Norm Macdonald saying that Seagal is just not a nice guy.
That was his attitude the whole week, was he kept saying, "I've never seen your show. I don't know what you do here." Like, really? You've never seen Saturday Night Live? Where do you live?
And John Leguizamo said to the New York Post that Seagal has a habit of hitting the stuntman on purpose.
The one question we have is, have you gotten an Aikido-based death threat from Seagal in Russia?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He told my publicist that if he ever saw me on a red carpet, he was going to knock me out.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm safe.
He apparently broke Sean Connery's wrist because he felt slighted by him during fight rehearsals.
You know, the principle is it's defense, so it's a pyramid, and I got a bit flash and I did that, and he broke my wrist.
Wow.
And
a quick warning, next bit is about animal cruelty, so skip a couple of minutes forward if you don't want to hear it. According to Vice, when Seagal was filming his reality show Lawman, in which he pretended to be a policeman because, why not, he was part of a raid in which 115 chickens and a puppy died. So Seagal's team suspected Jesus Lovera of organizing cockfighting. So in March 2011, they raided Lovera's house, with Seagal literally driving a tank through this guy's property.
Second APC, you approach from the north.
Cameras, SWAT, bomb robot, they went all in. But instead of rescuing the chickens, all were euthanized on the spot, plus the puppy too. Apparently, Seagal said that, quote, "animal cruelty is one of my pet peeves." A few months later, in August 2011, Jesus Lovera sued Seagal over the damages and death of a family dog. But because of paperwork issues, the suit was dismissed in 2013. Seagal's controversial political stances also don't get him many fans. He's mates with Putin, saying that the West is responsible for the Ukraine war.
The war that we are currently embroiled in was started and financed by the West.
He even joined a pro-Kremlin party called Just Russia and hung out with Belarusian dictator and Putin's puppet, Alexander Lukashenko. The last, but definitely not least, part of this story is many allegations of misconduct that Seagal faced from several women. On the set of 1991 Out of Justice, 4 female assistants quit because of, quote, continued piggery from Seagal and sued the studio because of his behavior. It was settled and swept under the rug. He allegedly forced assistants to take pills and use a gun if they didn't comply with his inappropriate demands. Another female employee accused Seagal of assault, harassment and breach of contract when they were making 1994 On Deadly Ground movie. The suit was dismissed.
A current affair uncovers the woman who says she knows why Kelly LeBrock wants to divorce Steven Seagal.
After all these years, she doesn't want to take it anymore.
Her sexy story of how she says the all-action superstar tried to seduce her on a movie set.
Katherine Heigl claimed he was being creepy towards her during 1995 Under Siege 2, when she just turned 16.
Well, my favorite was at the last day of filming, and again, I had just turned 16 on this movie, and he said, you know, Katie, I've got girlfriends your age, and I said, isn't that illegal? And he said, they don't seem to mind, and I said, Mom!
Rachel Grant accused him of harassment and assault during 2002 Out for a Kill rehearsal, with other women also sharing their stories. And even though there are many allegations and many accusations from many different women, Seagal denies everything.
In terms of your life in America, you've been very much caught up in all the allegations of sexual harassment. You had a rape allegation against you, and I wonder how you deal with all that.
As the saying goes, never meet your heroes. Well, I don't know if Steven Seagal was ever anyone's hero, but one thing is true. When we make fun of all the lies, crazy politics and poop stories, we cloud the most serious allegations against Seagal. And even if just a small part of it is true, it means that he's far from, a cringy, old, washed-up actor, but a man who got away with his actions. Thanks for watching.